We're going to begin with the shocking and very sad news out of Los Angeles. Lisa Marie Presley, Elvis's only child, dead at the age of 54 after an apparent cardiac arrest.
Admitted to a Southern California hospital after suffering cardiac arrest in Calabasas. Presley is the only heir of rock and roll superstar.
Lisa Marie Presley has passed away at the age of 54. She was the only child of Elvis and Priscilla Presley, enormously famous in her.
January 12, 2023. Lisa Marie Presley stands at the Golden Globes, trembling slightly as she watches Austin Butler accept his award for playing her father. 2 days later, she's gone. But in those final moments before her death, she revealed something about Elvis that the world had been waiting decades to hear. And what she said changes everything we thought we knew. Lisa Marie Presley carried a secret her entire life. A burden so heavy that even speaking her father's name could bring tears to her eyes. For 45 years, she protected his memory, defended his legacy, and suffered in silence. But just before she died, something shifted. She decided it was finally time to tell the truth. The last time the world saw Lisa Marie alive, she was barely able to stand. At the Golden Globe ceremony in Beverly Hills, cameras caught her looking frail, her hands shaking as she clung to her friend Jerry Schilling for support. People whispered. Something wasn't right. But Lisa Marie had insisted on being there.
Why?
Because Austin Butler was about to receive a Golden Globe for portraying Elvis, and she needed to be there. She needed to witness what he'd done, what he'd captured. When Butler took the stage, he thanked the Presley family with tears streaming down his face. Lisa Marie stood and applauded, her own eyes wet. Later that night, she would tell people that Butler hadn't just played Elvis. He had somehow channeled him, become him. And in doing so, he had unlocked something inside her that had been sealed shut since she was 9 years old. See, Lisa Marie Presley wasn't just Elvis's daughter. She was the last person to truly know him. The last one who remembered what his voice sounded like in the morning. The way he laughed at cartoons. How his hands felt when he tucked her into bed at Graceland. And for decades, she watched the world turn her father into a myth, a caricature, a Las Vegas joke. And she said nothing. Until those final days. 2 days after the Golden Globes, on January 12, 2023, Lisa Marie collapsed in her Calabasas home. Her housekeeper found her. Cardiac arrest. Paramedics rushed her to the hospital, but it was too late. At 54 years old, Lisa Marie Presley was gone, joining her father, her son Benjamin, and her grandfather, all victims of hearts that gave out too soon. But here's what most people don't know. In the weeks before her death, Lisa Marie had started talking. Really talking. To journalists. To filmmakers. To anyone who would listen with genuine ears. She had spent years writing a memoir, pouring out the truth about Elvis, about Graceland, about what it meant to be the daughter of the king. And what she revealed was stunning. Let's go back. August 16, 1977. 9-year-old Lisa Marie is at Graceland. It's the middle of the night. She's sleeping in her room when she's suddenly awakened by chaos. People running, shouting. Her father's girlfriend, Ginger Alden, screaming. Lisa Marie rushes out and sees him. Elvis. Face down on the bathroom floor. She would later say that image never left her. Not for a single day of her life. But what haunted her even more was what came after. Within hours, Graceland was swarmed. News crews. Fans. Strangers weeping at the gates. And little Lisa Marie, still in shock, watched as her father transformed from a person into a symbol. From her daddy into Elvis Presley, the legend. And she hated it. In interviews conducted just months before her death, Lisa Marie finally explained what those years after Elvis died were like. She described feeling like she had to protect him. Everyone wanted a piece of Elvis. Everyone had a story, a theory, a conspiracy. People claimed he was still alive. That he'd faked his death. That he was murdered. And through it all, Lisa Marie stayed silent, keeping her memories locked away like treasures no one else deserved to touch. But the weight of that silence nearly destroyed her. She struggled with addiction. Failed marriages. The crushing pressure of being Elvis's daughter in a world that worshipped Elvis the icon but never understood Elvis the man. She married Michael Jackson, partly, she later admitted, because he was one of the few people who understood what it meant to live inside that kind of fame. To be more symbol than human. Then, in 2020, tragedy struck again. Her son Benjamin, who looked eerily like Elvis, took his own life. He was 27. Lisa Marie was shattered. In the aftermath, she made a decision. She would no longer hide. She would tell the truth about Elvis, about the Presley curse, about the cost of being born into American royalty. When the Elvis movie began production, Lisa Marie was skeptical. Another movie about her dad? Another actor trying to mimic his moves, his voice, his essence? She'd seen it before. But then she met Austin Butler. And something extraordinary happened. Butler had spent 2 years preparing for the role. He studied every interview, every concert, every home movie. He worked with a vocal coach to capture Elvis's voice, not just the performance voice, but the private voice. The one Lisa Marie knew. And when she finally saw the film, she broke down. In one of her final interviews, Lisa Marie described watching Butler's performance as a spiritual experience. She said it was like her father had come back. That Butler had captured something beyond imitation. He'd somehow found Elvis's soul. The playfulness, the vulnerability, the loneliness that Elvis carried even at the height of his fame. And that's when Lisa Marie started talking about the real Elvis. The one the world never saw. She revealed that Elvis was terrified of being alone. That he surrounded himself with people, the infamous Memphis Mafia, not because he was controlling or paranoid, but because silence scared him. Because when the music stopped and the crowds went home, he was just a kid from Tupelo who couldn't understand why he was so famous or what it all meant. She talked about his generosity. How he would give away cars, houses, jewelry to anyone who admired them. Not for publicity. Not for image. But because making people happy was the only thing that made him feel real. She described him buying every single seat at a movie theater. Just so the family could watch a film alone together. Simple moments of normalcy in a life that was anything but normal. But she also spoke about his darkness. The prescription drug addiction that started with pills from army doctors and spiraled into a nightmare. The Colonel, Tom Parker, who controlled every aspect of Elvis's career and kept him trapped in Vegas when he dreamed of touring the world. The isolation of Graceland, which became less a home and more a beautiful prison. Lisa Marie revealed something heartbreaking. Elvis never believed he was good enough. Despite selling over 1 billion records. Despite being the most famous entertainer on earth. Elvis Presley thought he was a failure. He wanted to be a serious actor. He wanted to be taken seriously as an artist. But Hollywood gave him beach movies and formula films. The Colonel kept him in sequined jumpsuits singing to tourists in Nevada. And it broke his heart. She described the last year of his life. How swollen and sick he'd become. How he could barely walk some days. How the pills that were supposed to help him sleep or wake up or feel normal had instead destroyed him from the inside out. And she talked about the guilt. The crushing, suffocating guilt she carried for decades because she was there that night and she couldn't save him. But here's what Lisa Marie wanted the world to understand. Elvis wasn't a tragedy. He wasn't a cautionary tale about fame and excess. He was a good man trapped in an impossible situation. A man who loved his daughter more than anything. Who sang to her every night. Who built her a toy house in the backyard of Graceland. Who called her Buttonhead and made her laugh until she couldn't breathe. In those final interviews, Lisa Marie talked about forgiveness. Forgiving herself for not being able to save her father. Forgiving the world for turning him into something he never wanted to be. And forgiving Elvis for leaving her too soon. She also spoke about the Presley curse. 4 generations of Presley men dying too young. Elvis at 42. Her grandfather Vernon dying of heart failure at 63. Her son Benjamin at 27. Lisa Marie wondered aloud if there was something broken in their bloodline. Some genetic flaw or spiritual curse that meant they were never meant for long lives. Only bright, burning, brief ones. When Austin Butler won the Golden Globe, Lisa Marie stood and applauded through tears because she finally felt seen. Someone had looked past the myth and found her father. The real one. The one she loved and missed every single day. And for just a moment, standing in that ballroom, she felt like Elvis was there with her. Proud. Happy. free. 2 days later, her heart stopped, just like his. And the conspiracy theories started again. People claimed it was suspicious, that the Presleys were cursed, that Graceland itself was haunted. But the truth was simpler and sadder. Lisa Marie had carried too much for too long. The grief, the pressure, the weight of being Elvis Presley's daughter in a world that would never let Elvis rest. But before she died, she left us a gift. The truth. In interviews, in her unfinished memoir, in the tears she shed watching Austin Butler become her father one more time. She told us that Elvis was human. Flawed, scared, generous, lonely, loving. Not a king. Just a man. Just a father. Just someone who wanted to be loved for who he was, not what he represented. Lisa Marie Presley spent 45 years protecting her father's memory. And in her final days, she realized the best way to honor him wasn't through silence. It was through truth. The real Elvis. The one she knew. The one who sang her to sleep and called her buttonhead and loved her with every broken piece of his enormous heart. She wanted us to know that he tried. That he fought his demons as hard as he could. That he wasn't weak or foolish. He was overwhelmed. By fame. By expectation. By a world that took a poor boy from Mississippi and turned him into a god without ever asking if that's what he wanted. And now they're together again. Lisa Marie and Elvis. Father and daughter. Finally free from the burden of the Presley name. Finally able to rest. But their story lives on. In the music. In the movies. In the memories of millions. And in the truth that Lisa Marie Presley fought so hard to tell before her time ran out. Elvis wasn't perfect. But he was real. And he was loved. And maybe that's the only legacy that really matters. The gates of Graceland still stand. Fans still visit by the thousands. But now, when they walk those halls, they can hear Lisa Marie's voice echoing through the rooms, telling them the truth. Her father wasn't a myth. He was a man. Her man. Her daddy. And she missed him every single day until the day her own heart gave out and she could finally go home. That's the story Lisa Marie Presley died trying to tell. And now you know it too.